That's Mr. Which one's Mrs. Clark?
Mrs. Clark is, these are the older ones, and her husband, Mr. Clark.
And then the 3 kids. Okay. Wow. They were lookers too.
Yeah. You know what? Oh, I don't want to put this on there because it might not be accurate. Keep going.
Yeah, very cute.
Seam the floor right here. This is the original first room. This is 1901. What is now the back was the front. That's Highway 80 out there, the Bankhead Highway. We were here for the train. Train station was on the left. It's gone now, so I only have a picture over here of what the train station looked like. So this whole building was piecemealed. And the last thing it was a hotel, so we'll get to that at the very end. The next room to the right was a pool hall. It's also through time been a piano store. Last thing it was Mrs. Clark's living area. There's a third giant section over there. It was a clerk's office, a post office, and some kind of little school. And on this left side, there was nothing but a wall. Clarks didn't believe in alcohol. They had a living space up front, open porch, which is closed in now in the center. There's a giant kitchen, and in the now front was a little cafe, kind of truck style. It's now a stained glass shop. So the first section to be built upstairs, I found this online. This is a find. Is this little section right here. It's 1909, and the only thing I can read is a realtor's office. There's 6 rooms, all offices. So that would be this section here. So this is 10 years later. This is 1919. So this big section over here, or taller section, was built by that time. You can see it's right before Prohibition, so you have the saloon sign outside. The porch is missing now, but that was the only way to get up was a stairwell. So there wasn't a stairwell in here at the time. So this actual picture here was when Governor Hobby was coming to town, and they also had an old settlers reunion at the same time. So this is August 24th, 1919. And I don't know, nobody told me who Governor Hobby was, but I take it that he's the dandy. This is probably our judge. I don't think it's the sheriff, but probably the judge. So that's my guess. The Clarks, let's see, after Prohibition closed down, and I don't know these exact dates, but the Clarks ended up turning this saloon into a more formal dining. They put in the doors, and by the way, this particular wall is adobe. That's why the doorways are so thick. And the other door. And then in 1911, I'm going to backtrack a little. 1911, we became our own county from El Paso. So we had to have a courthouse, so this section up here was the first area that was served as a courthouse for us. It's being renovated right now. The rooms upstairs are a big mess, so I'm not sure we're going up there, but we might. So by 1914, 2 years later, they built this beautiful courthouse out of this red Precambrian sandstone, which is pre-life. Came out of the mountains in the back. They're on the other side. That outcrop of red Precambrian sandstone goes about, I'm going to say, 30 miles north. The intrusion is all through the mountains. Beautiful red. And it's supposed to be the largest outcrop in the northern hemisphere. So geologically, that's pretty cool. So let's see. When this was built, all the office people upstairs moved to be in this building. So because the upstairs was abandoned, the Clarks eventually started transforming the office rooms into bedrooms for the hotel. So it took some time, but worked out really well. Let's see, I was going to backtrack some. August 16, 1931, about 35 miles, and I tried to look this up. I don't know where the center point was, but there was a 6-point earthquake. Came up here, rocked these stones around. I talked to the guy who had something to do with tearing it down, which is a huge, you know, I mean, I don't know if it was a mistake, it's just horrible. But the chinks in the stones, you know, as they said, the infrastructure was kind of destroyed. Anyway, they tore it down, so we no longer have this building. I would have given anything to see it, but I don't want to be that old. I'm old enough. So let's see. So once the Clarks got it going, you know, I mean, they had, like I said, a cafe part in here. It was really nice. This place shut down somewhere in the 60s. I know somebody started a fire in that room on the right, and the place was abandoned. Anyway, luckily we have high ceilings, so kind of saved the buildings, and our volunteer fire department was pretty quick. So I scorched some carpet upstairs. But anyway, that was saved. So it was probably in the 70s, because I met a guy that came in here who had something to do with building something in one of the rooms. So I know by 71 or something they started turning this into a museum. So it took some time. Highway 10 came through over there south of us, so you know, it killed the, you know, if you ever seen the movie, what was that one, Cars? That's a great one to see what happened to like Route 66 or something, you know. The highways just killed the little towns. So that used to be Highway 80 right out there too. This was the first original one, but that was the business one there. So let's see. Oh, I want to show you this diorama. I have a retired Mexican school teacher builds these little dioramas. So this is El Capitan, which is just kitty corner to us. It goes like this. That's 1930 when it was built. That little gas station was on the corner. It's now the parking lot over there. And this section down here that goes down Highway 90 was the Mexican town because there was segregation. Really sad. Most of this area is gone. This was all adobe, which Marfa, that artsy-fartsy town just south of us, about 71 miles, would give anything for this adobe. But this 3 buildings gone, this one's gone, and all of that's gone. There's a resident here. Some guy just opened up a rock shop, auto repair shop. So if you want to come around and just view the other side of the street, it's really cute. I like this. This was a talkies theater, and this was a silent film theater. Also, Lydia Mendoza, who was put on a stamp in 2014, she, during the time of segregation and the prejudiceness, she was on her way to California, where she became famous. She was coming up this way and ended up getting a flat tire somewhere, and nobody would help her, which is a bummer. She ended up getting some help and came into town. She had a gig in El Paso, but it turned out she couldn't make it. So she was sitting out here playing her 12-string guitar, and Mr. Luna met her. So he plays, to this day, a 12-string guitar. Anyway, that's, you know, somebody that famous, I know for sure, came through here. Anyway, thanks to Mr. Luna, he has, and I'm going to record this, he has written a book on his life and what it was like living back in the days where it was segregation. And I'm trying to get him to publish it. I've read the thing, but too many people, even if he changes the names, people say, oh, my father wasn't like that. Well, I'm kind of a writer, poet person, so I sit in the bars and the coffee shops. And especially in the bars, after a couple of drinks, people start oozing out their poison. And there's still segregation here. So, you know, I don't want to get political, but, you know, this hoo-ha stuff going on in politics now, it's still here. So I'm just going to say that because it really ticks me off when people say, oh, no, it's not as bad as it was. Anyway, and they always say, those Mexicans need to get over it. Those blacks, those Asians, whoever. Well, they can't get over it. Anyway, that's my spiel there. So, the bar is original. Oh, from that fire, we've got some heat damage. The backdraft came in here and popped the veneer, broke the glass. Oh, I'll tell you this one. There's a sign here that says, this town is so healthy, we had to shoot a man to start a cemetery. Well, it isn't true. The Beach family, which those mountains in the north are called the Beach Mountains, they were a ranch family here, and the first person buried was their little baby. So they donated land, I believe. They did, and the Clarks, so that's how it started our cemetery. But this guy was shot less than a month after he said that. He was killed by his brother-in-law, supposedly an argument over water. And that's where I have to give my spiel is, water is the gold. Our county of Culberson County has some of the best water in the state of Texas. As a big state. It's the gold, and the frackers are coming and they're fracking. So, you know, I pray. That's one time I get really religious. We say that. But our area here in far west Texas has dark skies, pretty clean air. I mean, if we get out past the Juarez smog, if it blows here, it's going to blow out. So I moved here specifically from Dallas for the clean air, the mountains, the hiking. North of me, let's see, 60 miles is the Guadalupes. There's more than 85 miles of trails. You know, I mean, it's kind of desolate here, but they got pines. Once you get over those mountains, it's beautiful. South of us, we've got the Big Bend, which I haven't even been everywhere that's around here, but I'm got a lot of friends in all the small towns. Each town in the Big Bend is absolutely different. Terlingo is that off the grid kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say hippie, that's too far gone, but you know, off the grid kind of people down there. And they have the Big Bend National Park, and they have a state park down there. I haven't even been to that one. Beautiful. Now, to get to the park is about 180 miles. But here, you know, when I moved from Dallas, what's so hilarious is people say, don't you hate to drive all those miles? Like it takes me 120 miles. It's about an hour and a half to get to El Paso to do shopping. You go to, you know, a special doctor or something. They, you know, it's beautiful. I've been in traffic for 2 hours coming and going in Dallas, Fort Worth area, you know. So I think that's pretty much it. I think I've been healthier than I've ever been. I have swamp coolers, so, you know, it's like an open window.
Yeah.
I don't have that closed up cubicle I used to have in Dallas.
So this is how they stamped the tickets
Price.
right here.
Yeah.
You had to manually put them in to set them. Does this have the same
This
thing?
is the same thing.
Wow. I'm guessing that they go right in there somewhere.
I didn't try figuring it out. I probably could. I used to actually set type. That's how old I am. Model T right here. I only have pictures because it got taken out. It was totally restored running. And it was beautiful.
Oh, but it's gone now?
Yeah. It's in El Paso.
Oh, okay.
And then this is pretty funny. In 1946, there was a emergency landing down Broadway out there because the guy needed gas bad. So the people, the grandfather owned that Gulf station. And anyway, he gave me this picture. Also, this Bell Courts back here is still here. It's called the Desert Inn. And if you know the golfer, not Ben Hogan, right?
Ben Crenshaw?
No, Ben Hogan, the golfer. That was back in the 50s. Anyway, he was staying there with his wife. I want to say this was 1959 when this happened, but they checked out, went over to the El Capitan to have breakfast. He was in a hurry to get home. We rarely have fog here, but 29 miles east on Highway 80, not this 10. He hit a low spot full of fog and it was pretty dense, and he hit head on with a bus. And he would have been crushed by the wheel, you know, his steering wheel, but he leaned to protect his wife, who was, she was not hurt very much. And anyway, but it crushed his legs. And I guess somebody, the ambulance came and got him and cleaned him up. But the cute story about this, I could call it cute, it's not really cute, but they were good friends with an Air Force, higher up in the Air Force. The guy was always saying, you ever need anything, you just give me a call. Well, his wife called him, he came with an airplane and got him to a top-notch hospital, and he was winning tournaments in about a year. And the movie that was made with Glenn Ford was called Follow the Sun. Really well done. I have a video of it. I'm sure you can get a DVD now, but it's an interesting story. So we had a lot of Apaches were the predominant Indians in this area. Marriage carriage.
Oh, okay.
Petroglyphs. All through these mountains, there's either petroglyphs or rock paintings. But most of the ranches you can't get on. Back in there, which is called the Red Rock Ranch, which has the red Precambrian sandstone on it. Oh God, it's gorgeous. They made a lot of movies back in there, a lot of shorts. It's, my girlfriend's mom owned 27 miles, let's see, it was 27 miles, square miles of that ranch out there. We hiked all over. Anyway, they made part of Lonesome Dove down there, another Tommy Lee Jones and Jessica Lange. Blue Sky was made back in there. There's no house. And she has that scene in there from that. Anyway, I missed that because the mother died and they just sold the land to some rich Houston guy. But I was lucky to be able to tromp all over that area. You know, back in the day when people rode horses, this guy supposedly went 200,000 miles on this saddle. And I believe it because when I used to bike ride, you know, I had one of those little gauges on there to tell how many miles. I didn't realize that I rode that many miles, just training.
Well, this is pretty dang awesome. Unfortunately, I'm trying to get out of this light of this window so I can read, so I can see the, there we go.
Okay.
It's too bad that they don't have labels, you know, when this was, what era this was used in, what years.
Those doors are heavy. It's never been moved. I think it's sitting on asbestos.
1905.
Yeah, that one's broken. This is a little nicer picture here. Come on, get it.
That is just so cool.
This is weird. People keep touching things. This is to keep it from rusting.
Oh yeah.
If we had moisture, and it happens sometimes. My late husband had a lunch pail like that. I've never had a toaster that doesn't burn the bread or doesn't cook it, so I would love to have one of these. You can just do it manually. You can see it.
Yeah.
This is pretty much what they used in covered wagons.
Yes.
You know, when it was so cold, they could carefully, you know, have it centered and not burn the wagon down.
I wonder what this number and then this 80 is for. No 80 or...
Maybe it's number 80, I don't know.
Huh.